All right, YouTube, welcome back to the channel. This is actually going out to more than just YouTube, but YouTube is a good platform. I have a good following, so I use it for a lot of things. So wanted to make a video today. As of yesterday, May 5th, Utah passed constitutional carry. Actually passed a few months ago in the House and in the Senate, and the governor signed off on it, but it went into effect as of yesterday, May 5th. So Cinco de Mayo. What does that mean? So this video is definitely directed towards people that don't carry currently, haven't been, concealed carry, maybe didn't want to get a permit, a lot of different reasons why they may not carry, but there is a huge amount of new gun owners out there, and which means there's a lot of untrained individuals out there. And some of you are probably interested in carrying to protect yourself and your loved ones, but don't have any idea really on what to do. I mean, it sounds as simple as, hey, you buy a gun and you put it in your holster and you put it in your belt and you carry it. There's a lot more to it than that. So I wanted to make a video about it. I made a post on my personal Facebook page for my friends, family that are interested in receiving more information about it. So I thought it would be good to make a video because it's a lot to write down in a big old long post. So I thought I'd just make a video about it. So a couple tips. Number one, if you haven't purchased, let's say you want to get a gun for concealed carry, now that you don't have to have a permit, makes it a little bit easier. First of all, you should read up on that law. I'll link it in the description below. There's certain restrictions to it. One thing that actually I had a good friend of me reach out to about, he thought you couldn't carry with around in the chamber. That is not correct. You can. There's just certain other restrictions like carrying into schools, federal buildings and things like that, that even some of that you can't do with a concealed carry permit, but you can. There's certain parameters that are different between having a permit and not. So I would definitely recommend reading that so you are educated. So number one thing though, and this is not in any order of exact, order of importance, there's just important things. The first thing I thought of was, when you're out there looking to buy a gun, the number one mistake people make is buying a gun without trying it or shooting it. That is the number one mistake. I've done that. I've owned many guns that I thought I'd like and I don't, and I sold them. And it's because they aren't, for some reason, the ergonomics didn't work well with my hands, or I didn't like the way they shot, and a lot of things. So 100% recommend going to a range that allows rental guns. There's tons of them out there, and especially in the Utah, in the Salt Lake Valley. TNT Guns is a really good one. If you live in the Salt Lake Valley, that's right off the freeway, very easy access. Get some guns and ammo. There's quite a few. Down south, you got a lot of good options like Ready Gunner. I don't know. There's a lot of good gun shops around, honestly. The Armory. Legacy Shooting Sports. Why am I not recommending that? I have friends that work there. That's another great one. They have rentals, and they provide ammo for rental guns. Guys, I know this ammo is a whole other subject, but 100% recommend doing that because you need to see what fits your hand, what works well for you. I have, and as I put this on my Facebook page, I'm more than willing to help those that are in need of getting training and that want to try some things out. I have quite a few options, so you can try and see if it fits your hand and see how they shoot. That's very, very important though, because a lot of times when you make the mistake of buying the wrong gun, you may not carry it, you may not want to shoot it, and it could have been avoided by just renting and trying out a few options. So I do have some recommendations. If you want those, hit me up on what to carry and what are good choices. So number two is seek training. That's why I put this out on my Facebook page as a service, not charging for it. I basically said, you provide the ammo, I'll provide the place and the instruction. That is so important. Like it's incredibly important. A lot of gun owners out there just buy more and more and more guns and don't have training on how to use those guns, and they just continue to spend more money on guns because it's cooler. It's more fun to go buy a new gun than it is to take a class. But I actually 100% disagree with that. Once you take a class, you realize how important and how fun it is. But I highly recommend getting some at least basic training. I'm more than willing to provide that basic training or advanced training if you are interested. But it's so important to make sure that you are trained properly on safety, on how to handle a firearm, and not just that, on how to shoot from drawing from the holster, from concealment. So many things that are important if you're going to carry that you may not think about. So that should probably be number one on the list of importance is seek training. Number 3 is get a good quality. So let's say you've chosen the gun that you want. You went and shot some. Hey, I decided I really like the SIG P3. Wow, I can't talk. P365. That's just one example. Let's say you get that gun. You like the way it's shot. It's fits your hand well. It's easy to conceal. What's next? The number one thing you should buy is a quality holster, or two things actually that go hand in hand in my opinion. And I'm gonna just bring something into the equation here. A good quality gun belt, not a leather belt from Walmart, not, hey, I bought a sturdy leather belt. No, get an actual gun belt designed to carry a firearm. It makes a gigantic difference on concealment and on the weight, holding that weight up. This belt is by Core Essentials. I 100% recommend Core Essentials. They have lots of different buckle options. What's great about these belts, and I'm not sponsored by them or anything, I just 100% recommend their belts. It has a adjustable track, as you can see on the inside. So it's made to fit a lot of different people, and it's 100% adjustable. And what's great is when you're concealed carrying and you get that holster in your waistband, you can kind of ratchet this. You hear that sound, ratcheting, and it will actually just kind of tighten things up and make it a little bit more comfortable, or you can let it loose a little bit if you need to. Maybe you just ate a bunch of cheeseburgers or something. And you need a little bit more room in the waistband, you can adjust it. 100% recommend this belt for concealed carry. Other ones that are good, but this one, it's not expensive, and I 100% recommend it. The other thing I mentioned was a holster. I have lots of holster recommendations. This is by T-Rex Arms, one of my favorite holsters, what I carry on a daily basis with my Shadow Systems MR920. Now, this is clear and everything, but this is my daily carry gun. Obviously, this might be a little big for some people. To me, it's easy to conceal and carry, so I carry it. But the reason why I can carry a gun that size, though, is because of this belt and because of this holster. So 100% quality belt, quality holster. Most out-of-the-box, off-the-shelf holsters at your local big Cabela's and even gun shops don't necessarily carry the best holsters because they're mass-produced. These kind of holsters are custom made, custom fit to your gun. They're going to be higher quality. The nice thing about T-Rex Arms is they are quick ship. They have a lot of manufacturing. These ship pretty quickly. I got this in less than a week. And it's a holster made with a light for my particular gun. It's really high quality, fits really nice. This is one of my recommendations. I have others that I can give you as well. I have some discount codes at some other vendors as well. So, but that is super incredibly important. I remember taking my concealed carry class, it's been like 10 years ago, and I have a buddy that carried, and he never wore a belt. And I was like, how are you going to carry a gun without a belt? Then I have other friends that wear just like these slim little leather belts, and the gun sags, and then they don't ever carry. All you had to do is invest a little bit of money on a quality belt and holster, and it'll change everything for you. So next up is proper ammo for concealed carry. That is so hugely important. I went shooting with a buddy a few months ago, and he had unloaded his carry ammo, and it was literally just range ammo. That is the wrong kind of ammo to be concealed carry. I should have grabbed my magazine, but you want to carry a hollow point self-defense round. Federal HST is my recommendation. Spirit Gold Dot is also very good. A lot of federal agencies like the FBI, a lot of police agencies use federal HST. That's why I recommend it. That's what I carry. That is super important. It's expensive. You don't practice with it. You should shoot some rounds through the gun to make sure it functions properly. But it's not something you're going to shoot all the time. It's something you carry in a magazine that you carry on your person. That ammo is 100% designed for self-protection, to not overpenetrate. Range ammo is not good for that. Range ammo can, the bullet design is definitely not made for concealed carry. So don't carry regular 9mm bullets that you would just buy for the range. 100% need hollow point self-defense rounds. That's another mistake I see all the time. Next up is don't worry about printing. So let's say you got your holster, you got your belt, you got your gun, and now you're like concerned that people are going to know you're carrying. I ask my wife, and she makes fun of me all the time, because I used to be like, oh, can you see it? Can you see it? Is it printing? Can you tell? And she's like, no, you can't tell. Most 99% of people aren't going to even look at you for that long. That's kind of creepy to notice that you're carrying. If they're a fellow gun owner, they might notice. I notice all the time with people, but that's because I carry, and that's okay. That's good to know there's others out there. So don't worry about that. That's not a big deal. A lot of people think it is. It's really not. And on that same note, concealed carry like clothing. I wear regular jeans and t-shirts all the time, and I have no problem concealing. No, and I'm not the thinnest individual, so it's sometimes that can be easier if you're a little skinnier. But yeah, don't worry about that, and don't worry about having to get all this extra special clothing and stuff. That's not really necessary usually. Next up is practice. So let's say you bought your gun, you got some training, you've got your holster in your belt, you're ready to go out and carry. You need to practice. Now that's hard right now because ammo is super expensive and hard to find. And there is millions of new gun owners out there, and that makes it even worse. So unless you're like me and who have been stockpiling ammo, I shouldn't say that online, have a lot of ammo on hand, it's going to be hard maybe to get ammo. But you don't necessarily need ammo to practice. I 110% recommend dry fire. Dry fire is very effective on learning how to draw from the holster, how to present correctly, how to get a proper trigger press, how to, a lot of things, sight alignment, so many things you practice in dry fire that are so important, and I 100% recommend you dry firing. It's not as fun as actually shooting at the range, and there is some cool new things out there that really help with dry firing that make it more interesting and more realistic. There's a lot of good things on the market. The Dry Fire Mag is one that I'm actually testing and evaluating right now, and I think it's really cool. So, that's something you can look into as well. And another thing that I recommend is a weapon-mounted light or handheld light at the minimum. So I run the TLR7A from Surefire on all of my guns. They do have the new TLR7 sub coming out for like the smaller subcompacts, like the SIG P365, the Hellcat, stuff like that. Highly recommend a weapon-mounted light for so many reasons. The biggest one is identifying a target. You're not in this fantasy world that you're going to conceal carry in the daylight all the time, are you? Like, what happens when it's nighttime outside and you don't have good visuals? You can't identify a target. It's so important. You want to make sure that if you're going to use your firearm, you're shooting, you're engaging a target that is actually a threat. So that is so important. So if you're not going to do it on the weapon, handheld lights. This is a Surefire Stiletto Pro. My recommendation. It's a little big. There is smaller options out there that I would recommend as well, but you need some sort of light, and you need some sort of training with a light to know how to use it properly with a gun if you're not going to carry it weapon mounted. Weapon mounted makes it a lot easier, but there's still training involved with that as well. But that's down the list. That's not, hey, I need to go out and get a weapon light right away. No, you don't. But it's important at some point that you get something like this. So I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Those are the basics, and this is already almost 15 minutes, so we'll kind of wrap it up. But I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, duh, I already know this. This video is not made for you. This was made for new shooters, new to concealed carry, particularly those that live in Utah now that have a constitutional carry, or other states. There's a lot of other states that have recently implemented constitutional carry. Though I still highly, highly recommend you get a state permit. The Utah permit is great. It has reciprocity. Well, I said that right the first time. That's a hard word. With, I think, 38 plus states. It could be more. Meaning you can carry in other states. If you look at the neighboring states, like Nevada's one that honors the Utah permit. Wyoming, all the Idaho, Colorado. Oh, I'm not sure on Colorado, actually. Look up that law as well as far as reciprocity with the permit. Now, the Utah constitutional carry only applies to Utah. So do not try to conceal carry outside of Utah without an actual permit. So that's why I do advocate for that permit. And it gives you a few things that are restricted in the constitutional carry that aren't restricted with a permit. So I recommend eventually getting one. But it's nice that we have that freedom now to conceal carry without a permit in Utah and other various states throughout the U.S. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks so much for watching today, and we will see you the next time.